Shalom, 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 everyone. Shabbat shalom. This is Yahudia coming to you today with my family. We're going to bring you a lesson entitled Casting the Figs. And I'm going to start this video by sharing the video that I was inspired to create this lesson from. And the title of this video is The Deepest Hole Can We What's the deepest hole can we possibly dig, from the Real Life Lore YouTube channel. And I was just randomly watching this video when I was getting dressed yesterday morning to head out. And I was just inspired by something that I saw. And I don't want to really give it away too much, but I just want you to just watch this for like a few minutes and then we'll get started. And I have with me reading today my husband, Travis.
Shalom.
And my son, Malachi. Yes, and so we're gonna just begin this video right now.
Point in their lives, nearly everybody has wanted to dig a hole down to the center of the earth. The only problem is, nobody ever has actually dug a hole down that far. This leads us to the question that this video is all about. If humanity decided that digging a hole was the #1 objective of our species, then how deep down could we actually dig with modern day technology? Let's say that we start somewhere on the Earth's surface and just start digging from there. Not too far down at 1.8 meters, and we arrive at the standard grave depth in Western culture. So if you're afraid of zombies, this is how far down they'll be coming from. 4 meters down, and we arrive at the depth that Pharaoh Tutankhamun's tomb was discovered at. A little further, at 6 meters below the surface, we reach the maximum depth that metal detectors can pick up signals from. At 12 meters, we can find the deepest burrows dug by animals, the Nile crocodile. A little further down at 20 meters, and we arrive at the depth of the Paris catacombs beneath the city of Paris, a tomb that holds the remains of over 6 million people. Double that distance to 40 meters down, and we can see the deepest swimming pool in the world. If you drained this pool and jumped into it from the top, it would take nearly 3 seconds before you would hit the bottom. 100 meters down is the usual distance that governments bury their nuclear waste at. And just beneath that, at 105.5 meters down, is the deepest metro station in the world, located in Kiev. Moving on to 122 meters down, and we see the deepest known point that a plant's roots have ever reached, a fig tree in South Africa. 220 meters down.
That's it. That's all it took. Did you see what I saw? Okay, I'm going to play it again. It says the deepest roots of any tree or plant on the planet is a fig tree from South Africa and at the depth of 400 feet. Now, what really inspired me for this lesson, because last year I prayed for the Most High to start revealing me the symbolic meaning of different trees in the Bible, and I really wanted him to give me a more clear understanding of the fig tree. And when I was watching this video, and it said fig trees have the deepest roots, and it was 400 feet. And we know that 400 is a covenant number in the Hebrew scriptures. It's the number value of the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Tau. And 400-year prophecy is quite significant to us in the last days. And the deepest roots on the planet comes from a fig tree in Africa, meaning that these covenant people have the deepest, most richest roots on the planet. And I was just amazed at, like, wow. So let's just watch that like 30 seconds again, those last 30 seconds again, so you can catch it again.
Beneath that, at 105.5 meters down, is the deepest metro station in the world, located in Kiev. Moving on to 122 meters down, and we see the deepest known point that a plant's roots have ever reached, a fig tree in South Africa. 220 meters down.
And that's it. That's all it took. It's funny how the Most High would use like the weird, strangest things to inspire my lessons. So with that, we're gonna get started. One moment, please, as I get my new screen together. And here we are. We're at Isaiah chapter 34. And as you know, when I am trying to build a point on a lesson, generally, I really do not like to skip around and just read one verse unless I'm pressed for time. But today we're going to start off reading Isaiah chapter 34.
Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people, let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahuwah is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He has utterly destroyed them. He has delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. And all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falls off from the vine, and as a fallen fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Edom and upon the people of my curse to judgment. The sword of Yahuwah is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For Yahuwah has a sacrifice in Batra, and a great slaughter in the land of Edom. And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of Yahuwah's vengeance, and the year of recompenses, for the controversy of Zion.
We got to pause right there. So as you can see, these figs play a vital role in end time prophecy. He says in verse 4, and all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as leaves fall from the vine, and as figs falling for the fig tree. So these fruits of the fig tree are going to be allegorically cast down from heaven to judge who? For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come upon Edom and upon the people of my curse to judgment. So he's going to send his sword is going to come flying to judge the world for what? For what? Read verse 8. For it is the day of Yahuwah's vengeance and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion, the controversy of what has been done to us. So as you can see, these fig trees are going to play a vital role in end time prophecy because this is the fruit of the nation. Okay, we have righteous fruit that is going to bring judgment upon our enemies, and we have wicked fruit that is going to be bringing judgment upon themselves. Why? Due to something that the Most High consider the most important thing in the world, but most people kind of scoff at it nowadays, especially with all this pandemic stuff going on, and that is called faith. Faith is going to be mocked, and Most High Yah is going to be smoking hot against those who mock faith. Okay, so the next thing that I want to go over is showing you the ancient Hebrew word fig. So we have here fig. It means to produce. And the pictograph aleph represents the ox. The nun is a picture of a seed, a plant seed, animal, or man seed. So any kind of seed. The male searches out the female and approaches her for reproducing. This can also be a search for the purpose or the producing of something. Okay, so this is a very prophetic fruit. It can be used for the seed of man or the searching out for a purpose or something. So the whole purpose of what's going on in the earth is to manifest a certain fruit, right? Look at also the next section of this definition. Ship. Where? A ship searches through the sea for a distant coastline of an island or a mainland in search of the produce for trade. Where are we scattered? Where are this fruit scattered abroad on ships? Isn't the Most High going to search the fruit out in the last days? Isn't the Most High going to cast forth the figs from heaven onto the earth to judge all of the heathen nations? You got to understand your deep roots come from the fig tree, okay? And these fruits are going to bring about judgment on the earth. And the deepest root on earth is 400 feet deep. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. Okay, so the fig tree produces fruit that is desirable and prolific. Since the fig is green and blends in with the leaves, the fruit must be searched out. So this fruit is not going to be this huge, ostentatious, big, bright colored fruit that's going to be easily picked out like an orange off of a fruit tree. It's not going to really stand out that much. You actually might miss the fruit. You're just going to be blending in with everybody else. But the Most High God knows where to find you. You may think you're invisible. You may think that nobody noticed you, but the Most High noticed you. And that's the reason why a lot of people feel so lost right now. It's because they feel like forgotten. But the Most High has not forgotten you. You may just feel insignificant in this world, but you are not insignificant to Yah. He's searching out his children on the face of this earth, and they're just blending in with everybody else, right? And it says the searching may result in success or failure. If you're not bearing any fruit, you're not going to be picked. That's just the bottom line. What is this fruit? What kind of fruit are we talking about? We're talking about faith, right? Because when your faith is tested, and a lot of people's faith was being tested this past week. A lot of people are getting a lot of mandates on their job. You got to do this, you got to do that in order to stay on the plantation as a slave and to continue to slave and pay your bills. You got to subject yourself to experimental treatment. That's making a lot of people hearts fail them because they're looking at their bills that they could barely pay now. And they say, hey, I can't afford to quit my job right now. Let me risk my life and take this. That's going to show how much faith you have, right? So we're going to continue on. It's H8384. It says a ship searches through the sea for a distant shore. And a tree of fruit, a desirable and prolific fruit that must be searched out for the fruit is green, blending in with the leaves, make it difficult to see. So we ought to understand that everything about our lives as Hebrew is very symbolic and prophetic. He used many different ways to describe his children, and he has many chapters and verses to describe what the will he has for this earth in regards to us and our future. So you gotta have faith, you gotta hang on. We're gonna run back over to Isaiah. I'm gonna pick up at verse 9.
And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched, nor night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever.
This judgment is going to make going to scorch the earth, and it's going to burn night or day. And symbolic of this is that I read an article that said that this has been the hottest year in the history of the world. And not only that, we've had more fires break out over more square miles on the face of this earth than any time in history. The Most High is showing you that this word will not return to him void. He wrote this thousands of years ago, and he's going to make sure that everybody know, no matter how smart you think you are and how important you think you are, you do not supersede what has already been written. This is his play. He designates the characters. And if you think you have control over what's going to move forward, you're only fulfilling your role, your wicked role in prophecy. I'd rather be on the right side of this thing. Okay, continue.
But the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it. The owl also and the raven shall dwell in it. And he shall stretch out upon it in the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness.
And the line of confusion and the stone of empty. A lot of people are feeling confused and empty right now. And that's why this whole campaign, to experiment on everybody with this drug to save the world, it's giving people a sense of purpose. People that was feeling like their whole life they had nothing to fight for and stand up for. They're endowed with a false sense of self-righteousness, like it's their job to bully and pressure people into making the same mistakes that they did in regards to taking the medicine. I ain't taking it. I'm not so confused and fearful and empty that I'm running to the same devil that's been trying to kill my people since the beginning of time. I am never going to forget. Verse 12.
They shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there, and all her princes shall be nothing. And thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof. And it shall be a habitation of dragons and a court of owls. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. The screech owl also shall rest there and find for herself a place of rest. There shall the great owl make her nest and lay and hatch and gather under her shadow. There shall the vultures also be gathered, everyone with her mate. Seek ye out of the Sefer of Yahuwah and read.
Wait, what does that say right there? Seek ye out of the Sefer, the book of Yahuwah, and read. After he done told you all of these judgments, he said you're not going to be confused in the last day if you read. He didn't say seek ye out a teacher and read. The only thing I'm doing when I'm posting these videos, I'm sharing with you my studies to show you how to seek out the Sefer and read, showing you the tools and the methods to seek out and read. Okay? He didn't say seek ye out a group of people to run around and form your own gang. He didn't say seek you out your next best favorite YouTube teacher. He didn't say seek ye out a congregation or a whole bunch of friends. He said, seek ye out the Sefer of Yahuwah and read. No one of these things shall fail. None shall want her mate, for my mouth has commanded it, and his ruachs it has gathered them. Okay, his ruach. I don't care if it was a spontaneous pandemic or if it was a plandemic bioweapon. It don't matter what the method that was used. If a ruach calls for somebody to want to invent something crazy like this, he sent that ruach. You know what I'm saying? If it was sent as a plague from heaven randomly, spontaneously, he sent that out. He has control even over the wicked to put that spirit on them. Okay, so you better read so you don't be confused, because if you're staring at the news every day, you're going to be confused, and then you're going to be going around attacking and hating on people who are righteous when they're only trying to tell you the truth. Verse 17.
And he has cast the lot for them, and his hand has divided it unto them by line. They shall possess it forever. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Okay, so next, we're gonna run over to Revelations, and we're gonna make a comparison here, and we're gonna see that the verses of Isaiah chapter 34, verses 3-6, is actually describing the fifth and sixth seal from Revelations chapter 6. And the first through the fourth seal in Revelation chapter 6, so the four horsemen of the apocalypse, right? And I asked the Most High to show me what's going to happen next and how it's going to happen, and show me the scriptures to justify it. And that's when he gave me this lesson. So when you read Revelation chapter 6, verse 4-6, this Revelation just give you a step-by-step of what's going to happen and unfold in the last days. So that's the reason why we're going to read the whole chapter, and then we're going to place emphasis on the fifth and sixth seal at the end. This chapter is fairly short as well.
And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were the noise of thunder, one of the four living creatures saying, "Come and see." And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him. And he went forth conquering to conquer.
And you know that corona means crown, right? And when you look at the corona as being a weapon, you can also see how this can be viewed as the first seal due to unlock these prophecies. And let's not be confused now. Babylon the Great did not start falling until this disease started spreading through the planet. Babylon is a global system. It's headquartered right now in the United States. And United States did not go into lockdown until the end of the 400 years, exactly in the month of March of 2020. That marked the end of the 400th year that we have been in this place, the center, the capital of Babylon the Great. Okay? Verse 3.
And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, "Come and see." And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four living creatures say, "A measure of wheat for a dinar, and 3 measures of barley for a denarius."
And that's what they say is coming next: food shortage and inflation, right? Everybody says that I've received information from a over-the-road truck driver, a long-haul truck driver, that said that when the lockdowns happened last time, he was still dropping off his regular amount of food in a refrigerator food truck to the warehouses, but the warehouses of all these grocery stores, the main warehouse was withholding the food from the neighborhood stores, meaning that there was no shortage. It was a false shortage that they was trying to do to create a shortage. To create scarcity. And I remember one time a few years ago when there was a hurricane, a fake hurricane that was on its way, and everybody started panic buying, that the price of water became inflated. And that was like a signal to me as I was first awakening that if any kind of crisis comes to this city, everybody's going to always nut up and buy up everything. And that's going to cause inflation and scarcity. And it's crazy that this is also mentioned in the Bible. You know what I mean? You cannot make this stuff up. Let's go back to the second seal. And it says that this horse was red and power was given to him that sat there to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. So as you can see, this pandemic is causing for people to turn on each other. They're trying to weaponize the people who have taken the shot against those who have choosing not so. Every article on the internet, every moment of every news broadcast is to energize people to turn on each other. Okay. And you can see that this is, and I even saw an article earlier this week that said only 27% of Black New Yorkers are vaccinated, have taken the shot. And that's going to cause racial tension, right? And this is what is being mapped out. So you got the first seal was a crown conquered the earth. Second seal, people gonna be turning on each other. Third seal, food shortages. Fourth seal. Okay, we at the third seal right now. Verse 5.
And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and a low black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four living creatures say, "A measure of wheat for a dinar, and 3 measures of barley for a denarius. And see you hurt not the oil and the wine." And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see." And I looked, and behold, a green horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and Sheol followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. And when he had opened the fifth seal.
So wait, the fourth seal is going to kill a fourth part of the earth. So you can look for in the years of ahead, in the beginning of the judgments, because you gotta understand this is Revelation chapter 6. This is not the whole story. This is just how it's gonna pop off. 1/4 of the people are gonna die as a result of the four horsemen. Okay, but that's just the beginning, right? Okay, verse 9.
And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar of souls of them that were slain for the word of Elohim and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, "How long, O Yahuwah, holy and true, do you not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth?" And white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled.
So we have in the fifth seal, the righteous are sitting up in heaven crying to the Most High, saying, "How long is this going to go on? How long are we going to have to watch what is happening on the earth?" And there has been so many righteous over the generations that has been killed, and they are all sitting up in heaven. And these are the figs that are going to be cast on the earth. Our ancestors that have suffered at the hands of these demonic heathens, and even at the hands of their own brethren that turned on them, they are sitting up on heaven, waiting to judge the earth. And when those righteous souls are able to help execute judgment on earth, they're going to be casting judgment as figs from heaven, as was stated in Isaiah 34. Verse 12.
And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casts her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind.
So he said the stars of heaven fell unto the earth. Why? Because in the fifth seal, the righteous started crying out, saying, please let this be it. Please, please. They start begging for judgment. When the heavenly righteous souls start begging for judgment, that's when it's gonna really get ugly. Okay. They know that there's a point in time that everything is supposed to go forth. But when their patience gets short and they start begging for judgment, you better understand that, as it said in verse 13, the stars of heaven will fall into the earth, even as fig cast their untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. So it's right here, it's comparing the fruit of the fig tree, the fruit of our bloodline, he is comparing to the stars of heaven. And as you remember, Abraham was promised to have seeds would go forth from him that would number as the stars in heaven. And remember, he was only 100 years old when he had his first son, but even then he had to have faith that the Most High was going to make good on his word. Okay, so the figs are the stars of heaven. This is the fruit of a tree. When these stars fall from heaven, the Most High said it would be like the fig tree casting her untimely figs as if they were shaken from a mighty wind. This is going to be the judgment. This judgment is coming from our ancestors. They've watched all this stuff. They suffered through all these things. Even Isaiah, he was sawed in half for being a prophet. You know what I'm saying? And so we got to understand this stuff is going to come to a close. Verse 14.
And the heavens departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?
There's so many scriptures that precept with this, but let's run back over to Isaiah chapter 34, and I'm going to show you how in verse 3-6, this is what's lining up. We're gonna look at this and compare it to what we just read in Revelations. So it says in verse 2, for the indignations of Yahuwah is upon all nations, and his fury upon their armies, for he has utterly destroyed them and has delivered them for slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down. Didn't he say he's going to be casting the stars onto the earth? And their hosts shall fall down, even as a leaf fall from the vine, and as a fig falling from the fig tree. Isn't that almost exactly what it said in Revelations?
Mm-hmm.
So for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come upon Edom, upon the people of my curse, right? I didn't add this into the lesson, but I just want to put it in here right quick before I run to the next point. Who is this that comes from Edom with dyed garments from Botsra? This that is glorious in his apparel and traveling in the greatness of his strength. That I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art you red in your apparel, and your garments like him that treads in wine fat? He said, I have trodden the wine pressed alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in my anger and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I shall stain all my raiment. So he said the blood of the Edomites will be sprinkled upon all his garments, right? In another book, everybody in the truth love is the book of Obadiah. Can you read that starting from verse 1?
The vision of Obadiah, Thus says Adonai Yahuwah concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Yahuwah, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made you small among the heathen. You are greatly despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you. You that dwell in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that says in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?
Okay, didn't it just say in Isaiah and Revelations that the heathen's gonna be hiding in the clefts of the rocks? These heathens got so much money, right? But they literally know that there's nowhere they can hide. They know they can't go up into another place in outer space and hide for the Most High, right? They can't build anything strong enough to go that far and to penetrate the dome or whatever is up there. And they know they can't be underground because that's the last place you want to be during an earthquake. They know they can't go to a cave because that's gonna fall on them. They know they're just sitting ducks at this point, right? And their pride is so high because they feel like even though they know they have nowhere to run, they think nothing is going to happen to them, right? We're not going to read the whole chapter because that was just a caveat. We're going to run back to Isaiah 34 again because I want to show you something when we continue from verse 6. That the reason why the Most High keeps mentioning Basra is because that word kind of symbolizes the arrogance of the heathen. So read verse 6 for me, please.
The sword of Yahuwah is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams, for Yahuwah has a sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Edom.
So we're going to look at this word Basra, right? So it says sheepfold or fortress. They want to go to the root of that. Basra, gather, fence, a wall or fence or fortified place for storing up gathered crop or people. So they have fortified themselves in all these countries and they have gathered God's people and literally have held him hostage. And even more so now, due to all of these mandates, and they got all their riches and stuff stored behind those walls, and they figure that nobody can penetrate them with their iron domes and their missile defense systems and all their science and all of that. They feel as though actually that they would not be judged, right? These heathens think they are protecting all of their storehouses and riches stolen from y'all's people. Okay, but y'all is going to destroy every one of their iron domes and missile defense systems. And every fortified country is going to be destroyed by casting his figs upon them. Judgment is coming for these heathens. And they, just in case they forgot, people like me is here to remind them. Okay? I just want to remind you, I don't care how rich and smart you think you are, you're not going to hide in Basra in your fortified cities. Right? Another word for Basra, to gather together and to confine for protection. They don't want nobody to move. They want everybody to be just as scared as them, right? It also has a root word meaning gold. What is stored away or protected? They pride themselves of having conquered every indigenous land on the planet and storing up all this gold they've dug out of the darn earth everywhere they want it to go, right? So when and they have so many storehouses of food as well, but they're gonna cause a shortage for regular people, but they're gonna be sitting around somewhere fat. But the Most High say you're not gonna live long enough to eat all that stuff, right? So these are just different words that the reason why when he spoke about judging Basra in Isaiah 63 and Isaiah 34, it is symbolizing the arrogance that they feel once they have stolen everything on the earth, right? So we're gonna next move on to have a look at an article. All right, here. The next thing I want to share is this article about fig trees, which is the deepest roots in the world. And as this author intentionally or unintentionally attempted to describe these fig trees, it kind of like gives a very prophetic kind of understanding of the endurance of the remnant of the people that are going to be of this righteous bloodline are going to be left left on the earth, casting forth righteous fruit in the last days. And it's going to be a unique spirit these people are going to have, right? And so let's just have a look at it. We're going to read the entire article, Most High willing.
Usually a fig tree
Let me just enlarge it a little bit. There we go.
only requires a soil depth of 1 to 1.5 meters. The root network of a single tree can be several thousands meters long. In this respect, the root of a regular fig tree can hardly compete. Nevertheless, this very tree root tops another record list because no other plant has roots that penetrate deeper into the soil than the fig tree, which is native to South Africa. Sometimes we wonder about the plants and trees that grow and thrive in extremely unreal and dry areas. We are unable to comprehend the connection of the plant and the harsh climatic conditions above the surface of the earth, yet the plant still grows. The scorching heat and long periods without clouds and rain supply do not automatically mean the absence of growing flora. We only recognize the tip of the iceberg. Most of the flora remains hidden from us since it penetrates deep into the earth.
So he's saying that because this particular tree has these strong, deep roots, they can survive the most uninhabitable, the most scorching heat, the most dry periods without clouds, and the most harshest conditions on the planet. If this is not our people, I don't know what is. What do people always say? Oh my goodness, no matter what you do to these people, they always thrive and survive and make it sound like fun. Just like I was telling my husband, who's from New York, and he loves hip hop. And when I think about how bad our people had it in New York in the 70s and 80s with all these drug epidemics and systematic racism and just being blocked from joining various unions to obtain, decent paying jobs, and just all of the struggles that Black people faced in New York under those harsh conditions, and just even the weather itself and all of that. Through all of that, these brothers dug their roots deep down in the earth and created a whole movement and rapped about it and made the most beautiful music that you could ever, poetic music you could think of. Why were they able to do that? Because their roots are deep. These are sons of David. These are the things David did 3,000 years ago when he was suffering and running from enemies and at war constantly, right? He dug deep and wrote the book, most of the songs in the book of Psalms, right? He was a writer. He was a musician. And that's why I'm saying, no matter what kind of harsh conditions these people are in, they manage some kind of way to bear some type of fruit. And that's the reason why the Most High compares us to fig trees. Next paragraph.
The situation is similar to the fig tree species, which is found in South Africa. It grows there on the rocks and can survive there very well. While some of the roots above the surface of the earth offer a firm hold on the hard rock, a single, about 10 to 20 centimeters thick root strand penetrates deep into the earth through massive rocks. As it grows through partially thick layers of the earth and obstacles, the root continuously searches for water, automatically making its way through gaps in the rock and porous rock. At the tip of the root, it secretes a slimy secretion which loosens and decomposes the layers of the earth.
So this tree, it grows on rocks. You know what I'm saying? It grows on rocks and its roots are so strong, it actually can burrow through rock to get into the groundwater because it secretes a substance that is able to dissolve the rock and create, just unimaginable obstacles it takes that it can search out water, that it has the intelligence to know that if I keep digging deeper, I'm going to find the source. And that's what's the beauty of our people. The beauty of our people is that when we go through something, right, no matter what kind of harsh conditions, we're able to reach deep down inside of us and burrow our roots through that rock to find the water, right? Mm-hmm. And because the Most High said that when we became unmindful of our rock that saved us, that's when we began to perish and lose fruit. Because it takes a lot of faith for a fig tree to burrow through hundreds of feet of rock to find water, right? But if you are like a fig tree, you're going to be the type of person that no matter what kind of foolishness these wicked demonic heathens got going on out there, no matter how harsh it gets, you're going to be able to reach deep down inside your soul and burrow through all of that and figure out that there's got to be something down there. The Most High didn't create me just to let me dry up. I'm going to dig through this rock till I find my water, right? And I'm going to survive this thing. And I'm going to keep surviving this thing. And nothing is going to stop me from surviving, right? I'm sorry. All right. Water supply from a depth of 120 meters. And these are the figs, right? Remember the Bible said that the definition of figs is that they're hard to search out because they're green just like the leaves. And as you can see, those are little fig plants and they kind of blending in, but you can find them if you're looking for them, right? And I'll read this for the roots.
The root's urge to water is unstoppable because only the water supply enables the fruit-bearing part of the tree on the earth's surface to survive. There is a cave system in South Africa known as the Echo Caves, and there the path of the plants through the underground can be traced very well. The single root runs through the caves like a water pipe, then disappears back into the ground until the groundwater or another water source is finally reached. When the time comes and water is found, the long journey ends.
It says that this fruit-bearing plant, the roots are so strong that it runs through the earth like a water pipe once it finds its source, right? And it says this root's urge to water is unstoppable. You got to be unstoppable out here. You got to know that I don't care if I have hit a bump in the road. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going until I find that water. That's why he called us fig trees, because even though the righteous one is cast in the same harsh conditions as the wicked, the righteous will still bear fruit. They're not going to wither up, right? In fact, it seems as though fig trees kind of thrive in harsh conditions, growing on rocks, rocky terrain, okay? Because that rock makes them stronger. And because they have been forced to be strong, they're the strongest and deepest trees on the earth. And everybody always say, these soulful people are very deep people, right? Mm-hmm. And this is just the one last paragraph.
The particular fig tree has a root with the deepest measurement of 120 meters, which is massive for a tree root. It shows the tree's fight for survival and success. Along with that, the time of this trip, which is the time it took to grow to a record-breaking length, is also extremely impressive. It took a full 70 years to grow 120 meters looking for a water source. The search for this source of the water ended, and from then on, the root pumps about 25 liters of water a day, all the way up to the fig tree, which defies the heat and the drought in the dry environment of South Africa.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And just the way that the author kind of explained it so poetically. And as you read it, when you think about how our people are, isn't that a great comparison?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great comparison. So we're gonna run back to the word, and next we're going to, but at the end of the day, we have to know that despite the fact that the Most High built us this way, somehow people in our bloodline fail. And the reason why he's so hard on us, he said, you have a deeper root than everybody else. You shouldn't be dry like this. You definitely should be bearing fruit. I built you with deep roots. Why are you being lazy? Why are you not digging deeper? You know what I mean? Because I built you to go deeper. If you want to be a shallow person and not bearing any fruit, that's on you. And you're just going to dry and wither, right? How did we get to this point? Why has the Most High allowed the heathens to cast his figs abroad? No matter how much he allowed them to afflict us in our land, how many chances did he give us to repent before he cast us abroad? He gave us quite a long time to get our act together as a nation. And despite the fact that, you know what I'm saying, we disappointed him, right? Let's go to Hosea chapter 9, verse 10. Can you read that verse 10?
I found Israel like grapes in the wilderness. I saw your father as the first stripe in the fig tree at her first time. But they went to Baal Peor and separated themselves unto that shame, and their abominations were according as they loved.
And this is why the Most High cast us out, right? As unfruitful, rotten fruit off of a fig tree. It's because when he found Israel, right? He found them like grapes in the wilderness, right? And he saw our forefather as the first ripe in the fig tree, the first fruit of a fig tree at our first time, right? And he found them to be beautiful, righteous, holy, faithful men. But then the offspring did what? They went unto Baal, Peor. They went unto idolatry and separated themselves unto that shame, right? Because these are the ways that the shallow heathens around them worship. The beasts of the field. You know what I'm saying? We want to be like the beasts that's around us, right? And so we became shameful unto their shame, right? In fact, they kind of switched places with us. They're ruling over us and we're sitting around in the hood somewhere, a lot of us. Or if not the hood, an overpaid slave coon on one of these jobs scared for their life to stand up. You know what I'm saying? Either way, it's a shameful situation to be in, to subjugate yourself to these demonic heathens and their rules all the time, when it's supposed to be the other way around, right? And so next we're going to run over to Jeremiah chapter 5. Let me do that. All right, read verse 4 for me.
Run ye to and fro through the streets of Jerusalem, and see now and know, and seek in the broad places thereof. If ye can't find a man, if there be any that executes judgment, that seeks the truth, and I will pardon it.
So he says, run to and fro in the streets of Jerusalem, and see ye now and know, seek high and low, and find any man you can find that seeks the truth. Anyone that could execute righteous judgment, and I will pardon you. He said, it's hard to find anybody that wants forgiveness. They thinking that I hate them the reason why I take them through these things. He said, I take them through these things because you won't apologize and repent and turn your ways. And because you don't know how to apologize, I'm just going to raise hell against you until I get you to apologize. Okay? That's the way of the Most High. Okay? You know what I'm saying? You could say that's a mean way to be, but don't nobody want no fake repentance or apology. They want somebody to be really sorry. And the only way somebody gonna be really sorry is you raise hell at them. And even then, some people still won't do it, as you can see. Verse 2.
And though they say Yahuwah lives, surely they swear falsely.
So he's saying you being fake, and don't nobody hate fake Negroes like the Most High. Next verse.
O Yahuwah, are not your eyes upon the truth? You have stricken them, but they have not grieved. You have consumed them, but they have refused to receive correction. They have made their faces harder than a rock. They have refused to return. Therefore I said, surely these are poor. They are foolish, for they know not the way of Yahuwah, nor the judgment of their Elohim. I will get me unto the great men, and will speak unto them, for they have known the way of Yahuwah and the judgment of their Elohim, but these have altogether broken the yoke and burst the bonds.
In verse 3, it says, "Oh Yahuwah, are your eyes not upon, or are not your eyes upon the truth? You have stricken them, and they have not grieved. You consumed them, and they refuse to receive correction." No matter how weird things get nowadays, no matter how scared these Negroes get out here, they refuse to repent. In fact, instead of repenting, they have made their faces harder than a rock, and they have refused to return. It's just like, I can't get these people to straighten out for nothing in the world. Like in one breath, I got a family member scared to death to die of the Rona. And I said, you would not be scared to death if you had more faith. Then that person goes and says that the Bible was written by a bunch of psychopaths and psychotic people a long time ago, and that ain't got nothing to do with what's going on right now. I was like, what? Now, how you gonna be scared and you gonna reject the one thing that can save you and relieve your stress and anxiety? I tell you what, since you don't know how to relieve your stress, you're not gonna call and stress me out. And that's why I stay to myself. Because these people lack faith. They want to pour their anxiety on you like a cup of disgusting urine-filled water, instead of finding a way to digest their own anxiety and stress and unclean spirits. They want to cast their ruachs on you. You can't let people do that to you. You can pray about them, but you got to stay away from them at a certain point. Okay? Verse 6.
Wherefore a lion out of the forest shall slay them, and a wolf of the evening shall spoil them. A leopard shall watch over their cities. Everyone that goes out thence shall be torn in pieces, because their transgressions are many, and their backslidings are increased. How shall I pardon you for this? Your children have forsaken me and sworn by them that are no Elohim. When I had fed them to the full, they then broke wedlock and assembled themselves by troops in the harlots' houses.
Isn't this what Hosea chapter 9, verse 10 just said? He said he loved our fathers, our forefathers, because they was the first fruit of a fig tree, right? The generation of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You know what I mean? But he said he had to cast the children away because what? They worshiped basically the devil and became idolatrous, right? And this is saying the same thing over and over again. The Most High keeps saying that every time you get an idolatrous heart, I will cast your generation away, right? And nobody is more idolatrous than Negroes nowadays, okay? Because there's zero faith in most of these people, right? They're literally running to the very enemies who are only, even up until this present time, do nothing but enact policies and chase us down like dogs and animals and plot to kill us. And has Flint gotten clean water yet? I don't think so. Even there about $10 trillion worth of stimulus has been made, and they still ain't got any clean drinking water, poisoning people to death. It's the same demons who bombed us in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and ran us out of cities across the country, and Rosewood, and Asheville, North Carolina, and even North Georgia, including Lake Lanier, that used to be a whole black city that they buried under the deepest lake in the state. They created a man-made lake and destroyed an entire town of black people. Okay, and thank goodness the lake is haunted as hell and scaring the heck out of them heathens up there all the time. And yet, despite all of that being in the land of their enemies, they will argue their own people down and say, if you don't take this shot, I hope they throw you in a concentration camp. If you don't take this shot, you're not allowed at my house. And all that crazy talk. If that's not idolatry and worshiping these devils, I don't know what is. Is that devil worship? You worship the devil when you do stuff like that. You really have faith in the wrong thing, right? Verse 8.
They were as fed horses in the morning. Everyone neighed after his neighbor's woman. Shall I not visit for these things, says Yahuwah, and shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? Go ye upon her walls and destroy, but make not a full end. Take away her battlements, for they are not Yahuwah's. For the house of Israel and the house of Yahudah have dealt very treacherously against me, says Yahuwah. They have bellied Yahuwah and said, it is not he, neither shall evil come upon us, neither shall we see sword nor famine. And the prophet shall become wind, and the word is not in them, thus shall it be done unto them. Wherefore thus says Yahuwah Elohai, sever oath, because ye speak this word, behold, I will make my words in your mouth fire, and this people would, and it shall devour them. Lo, I will bring a nation upon you from far. O house of Israel, says Yahuwah, it is a mighty nation. It is an ancient nation, a nation whose language you know not, neither understand what they say. Their quiver is as an open sepulchre. They are almighty men. And they shall eat up your harvest and your bread, which your sons and your daughters should eat. They shall eat up your flocks and your herds. They shall eat up your vines and your fig trees. They shall impoverish your fenced cities wherein you trusted with the sword.
So just like the heathens had fenced cities that was destroyed, that would be destroyed in the end times prophecies, it is only because they destroyed our fenced cities wherein we trusted when the Most High sent them to judge us. And he says that instead of your figs being fig trees being fruitful and you bearing your own fruit and eating of your own fruit, they're gonna take and steal your figs off your fig trees and eat them. And haven't we known through history that these heathens basically, the only thing they ever invented was the patent office, where they stole all of our inventions and stole all of our ideas? Didn't the Matrix lady say that whole movie series was stolen from her book? You know, that's all they do is steal all our entertainers out here being manipulated to stealing all and signing contracts to sign away the rights of all their music, right? Don't they steal our lives away for us on these jobs where you have to work overtime to pay your bills? I mean, the biggest fruit you could ever bear is your own life, right? They steal your time away, you know? They steal your joy, all those things. And he said he sent those people to do those things for us. Why? Because we were idolatry. We had an idolatrous heart. And the only way it's going to stop it, you're going to have to turn 100% to y'all and stop worshiping these darn demonic heathens, okay? Stop being idolatrous. You know, spend some time with him, quiet time, and stop having to require so many distractions from you all the time that you can't hear his voice. Verse 18.
Nevertheless, in those days, says Yahuwah, I will not make a full end with you. And it shall come to pass when ye shall say, wherefore does Yahuwah Elani, you, Eloheinu, all these things unto us? Then shall you answer them, like as ye have forsaken me, and served strange Elohai in your land, so shall ye serve strangers in a land that is not yours. Declare this in the house of Jacob, and publish it in Yehuda, saying, hear now this, O foolish people, and without understanding, which have eyes and see not, which have ears and hear not. Fear ye not me, says Yahuwah. Will ye not tremble at my presence, which have placed the sand for the bound of the sea by the perpetual decree, that it cannot pass it? And though the waves thereof toss themselves, yet can they not prevail. Though they roar, yet can they not pass over it. But this people has a revolting and rebellious heart. They are revolted and gone. Neither say in their heart, let us now fear Yahuwah Eloheinu, that gives rain, both the former and the latter. In this season, he reserves unto us, he appointed weeks of the harvest. Your iniquities have turned away these things, and your sins have withheld good things from you. For among my people are found wicked men. They lay wait as he that sets snares. They set a trap, they catch men. As a cage is full of birds, so are their houses full of deceit. Therefore, they are become great and waxen rich. They are waxen fat, they shine. Yea, they overpass the deeds of the wicked. They judge not the cause of the fatherless, yet they prosper, and the right of the needy do they not judge. Shall I not visit for these things? Says Yahuwah. Shall not my soul be avenged so on such a nation as this? A wonderful and horrible thing is committed in the land. The prophets prophesy falsely, and the priests bear rule by their means, and my people love to have it so. And what will ye do in the end thereof?
So he's saying that on top of the idolatry that makes our people so wicked, and we could see this right now all the time. Not only does the idolatry make us wicked, it's how we treat each other. Okay, we got wicked people that the more money they have, the more wicked they are, and the more they take advantage of their brothers and sisters, right? And then he says that not only that, you don't know how to judge things righteously. You know, you got people out here who are fatherless, and instead of being a father to the fatherless, we got wicked people out here, you know what I'm saying, condemning the fatherless, you know what I'm saying, and turning their backs on them. And even like there's brothers out there that like actually mock the fact that there are so many single mothers out there, you know, but you got to understand the mother didn't make the child by herself. But instead of like mocking the woman's situation, you don't understand how much the Most High could potentially bless you because you're taking care of somebody else's kids. Because like what he said is that they don't know how to judge the cause, right? And shout out to the brothers who are there for the fatherless. You know what I mean? But he says that what is wicked about our people, that we turn our back against the orphans, the widows, right? They don't know what true prosperity is because they're so busy worshiping the material things. So next we're going to run over to Jeremiah chapter 8. We're not going to read the whole chapter here. We're going to read from verse 1 through 13.
At that time, says Yahuwah, they shall bring out the bones of the kings of Yehuda, and the bones of his princes, and the bones of the priests, and the bones of the prophets, and the bones of the inhabitants of Jerusalem out of their graves. And they shall spread them before the sun and the moon, and all the hosts of heaven, whom they have loved, and whom they have served, and after whom they have walked, and whom they have sought, and whom they have worshipped. They shall not be gathered, nor be buried. They shall be for dung upon the face of the earth.
So he's saying these wicked, rich, well-respected, false prophets, false princes, and the wealth and the false judges of our nation was spread before the since they want to worship the stars and the hosts of heaven as if they're God and be idolatrous and follow all these false religions. He said, I'm gonna spread your bones before the heavens so that it could be as dung on the earth. And dung is basically, you know what I'm saying, poop or feces, right? Verse 3.
And death shall be chosen rather than life by all the remnant of them that remain of this evil family, which remain in all the places whither have driven them, says Yahuwah Sebaoth.
It said this is an evil family. They don't know how to treat each other. They don't know how to treat me. So this is what is casting forth the figs to the enemy looks like. This is what has been happening to us all this time. This is what the Most High says he's trying to redeem us from this curse, right? And turn that curse back on our enemies, right? Verse 4.
Moreover, you shall say unto them, thus says Yahuwah, shall they fall and not arise? Shall he turn away and not return? Why then is the people of Jerusalem slidden back by a perpetual backsliding? They hold fast deceit. They refuse to return. I hearkened and heard, but they spoke not aright. No man repented him of his wickedness, saying, what have I done? Everyone turned to his course, and the horse rushes into the battle. Yea, the stork in the heavens knows her appointed times, and the turtle and the crane and the swallow observe the time of their coming, but my people know not the judgment of Yahuwah.
And just like all natural disasters on the earth, the first ones to know it is the animals, right? But the Most High also made us with deep roots. Why can't we ever tell when this judgment is coming upon us? Only a handful of prophets ever only take the judgment seriously and write them down and try to warn them to everybody, right? Try to spread that fruit to make sure that they understand what's coming. But what happened? Every generation ignores it. And the prophet is left ripping and running and crying. And that's why Jeremiah was called the crying prophet. That's all he do used to say, my eyes is filling with tears. I'm crying. And once again, you know what I'm saying? The people ignoring me once again, want to kill me, want to lock me up, want to hate on me, right? Next verse.
How do they say we are wise, and the Torah of Yahuwah is with us? Lo, certainly the lying pen of the scribes has made it a lie. The wise men are ashamed, they are dismayed and taken. Lo, they have rejected the word of Yahuwah, and what wisdom is in them? Therefore will I give their women unto others, and their fields to them that shall inherit them. For everyone from the least even unto the greatest is given to covetousness. From the prophet even unto the priest, everyone deals falsely. For they have healed the hurt of the daughter of my people slightly, saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace.
It's saying that these people are so fake, right? Everybody's so false. Everybody lies to each other. Everybody's mistreating the women, right? And the Most High is smoking hot about these things, right? Verse 12.
When they ashamed that when they were they ashamed when they had committed abomination? Nay, they were not at all ashamed, neither could they blush. Therefore shall they fall among them that fall. In the time of their visitation, they shall be cast down, says Yahuwah.
And that's all the Most High wants from us sometimes. He wants you, he ain't saying that you're not going to make a mistake and be deceived or do an abomination. But he says, are you even ashamed at what you did? Are you proud and you doubling down on your evil? And a lot of people are about to be destroyed not because they're wicked, because they refuse to repent for being wicked. They are doubling down on it. They refuse to be ashamed. The more they try to, that cognitive dissonance sits in, the more they try to defend themselves. And the more they try to defend themselves, the more wicked they get. It's like a never ending story with some people, right? Verse 13.
I will surely consume them, says Yahuwah. There shall be no grapes on the vine, nor figs on the fig tree, and the leaves shall fade, and the things that I have given them shall pass away from them.
There will be no figs on the fig tree. Why? So he's been tossing his figs, his precious figs to his enemies, to their enemies, so that they can eat them. Right? These trees, this elder bloodline, this deep-rooted bloodline is not gonna be able to reap any kind of harvest until they turn from their wicked ways, right? We're going to skip down to verse 17. What kind of people are you going to send towards us?
For behold, I will send serpents, cockatrices among you, which will not be charmed, and they shall bite you, says Yahuwah.
He's going to send serpents. He's going to send a wicked nation. He's going to, do you ever notice that no matter how much people coon up in these heathens' faces, the more you coon up in these faces, the more they hate you? If we could coon our way out of captivity, we would not be in such a desperate situation in this country, right? Because this is a serpent bloodline. They slither on the surface, seeking who they could devour. Why? Because their father is Satan. This is a satanic bloodline, and I'm gonna just review some information that I shared last year about this bloodline, about how they pride themselves of being the descendant of the serpent. Hold on 1 second. So here we are on y'alltruth.com, and we have the article entitled "The Seeds of Hashatan or Satan, the Edomite Serpent Kingdom, #heathens." This was produced earlier this year on January the 28th, but it's actually information that I also shared when I first opened the website last year. And it's amazing how they pride themselves of being serpent children. So we're going to start by reading this Revelation chapter 18, verse 2-4.
And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babel, the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul ruach, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not her plagues.
The Most High is saying that you will not receive the plagues of these demonic heathens in this nation, which is a habitation of devils, and every foul ruach, and every unclean and hateful bird. But it wasn't until last year that I found out who these unclean and hateful birds were. It's a form of bird it's like a bird serpent hybrid that they actually put on their coat of arms for their families. And it's called a basilisk. It's on the coat of arms of the infamous Agrippa family court. And this is the family who was in power when the Messiah was crucified, the Agrippa court, right? It's kind of, as you can see, it's like a feathered serpent. Okay, that's what he was saying, the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. He said that these serpents will not be charmed. You can coon up in their face, you can make these fake alliances with them. They will not be charmed. They will not be impressed. They will only use you and toss you out, right? And this is one of the most prominent families of the former Roman Empire, and they still exist today. as this very secretive Order of the Fly under the secretive family name Agrippa. The Order of the Fly, see, these people, I don't want to get too many details, going too far of a tangent, but these families that have like these little cults that are like cults of warlocks and witches, and they share like secret occultic history with one another, and they bond over like weird rituals and social gatherings and stuff like that. Well, the Agrippa court is one of the most prominent and the most secretive family courts. And you know, they are into like, you know, what is that? Beelzebub worship and just all kind of wicked things, right? They have a long history of powerful and influential wizards, either in positions of authority themselves or the advisors, influencers, and thought leaders of those who are in charge, right? They say either they're in charge or they're influencing the ones in charge. To keep the heat off themselves, a lot of them don't like to run for office. They just like to put who they want in there and influence them, right? They are the most selective and prominent heathen court, and its family members tend to take up positions in bureaucracy, working in law, administration, and the management of investments, right? In Jeremiah 49:10 said, I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places. He will not be able to hide himself no more, or his seed. Okay, his seed is spoiled. Why is his seed spoiled? Why? Because he made it with horites and turned his skin white. He made it with things that changed him from looking like his brothers in his family bloodline. Now he looked like something else. He looked like stuff like these heathens like this. He looked like that, right? So I'm gonna skip down. A lot of these heathens come from the Italian families. And don't get it twisted. These heathens are not just Italians. They come from, they're in Russia, they're in Europe, they all throughout Europe, because a lot of these families intermarry with one another. Some of them are Jews, some of them are Englishmen, some of them are French. You know, they're all over the place. Some of them are Spanish. They're all over the place, right? Some of them are actually even in Africa. So the Italian serpent kingdom is the one that really went after us and put us into slavery. And look at what's on their family crest: serpents. These are the serpents he's talking about are not supposed to be charmed. And this baby is supposed to be symbolizing a Moorish baby. I don't know why this carving trying to make it look like a little white baby, but in the original, and that's a cockatrice that they mentioned in the scripture we just read. That's kind of like a bird, serpent, bird type creature. I don't know why they want to. These heathens are obsessed with hybrids because they are hybrids. You know what I mean? They are hybrids between humans and these other creatures, wherever this Neanderthal DNA comes from, those creatures. So they are hybrids. That's why they love serpent and cockatrice mixed. You know what I'm saying? They love these bacillus because they are hybrids. That's why they want to make that their family logo. And this is another one, the Visconti family logo. It got the bacillus on there in the little yellow box, and then the blue one showing a serpent eating what? That looked like a little black man. He said these serpents will not be charmed. They're gonna eat you, okay? They eat, and they literally eat you at these little family courts. They make cakes out of you. They make stews out of you. They have Negro roast. Read the Delectable Negro. They saying they eat you. This is what the original looked like. Okay, and this is the family bloodline that was put the Pope in office. They sent us into slavery. This demonic heathen. Look at her. And don't think his grandchildren are not walking around on this earth, right? Still making the policies that are being inflicted right now because we don't know our history. We don't know how we got to this point. So you're looking at these heathens. Look at her on the freaking lawn of this mansion in Italy has the family logo eating a black man. Still to this day, these demonic heathens know their history, and they know your history, and they know their history of defeating you. And their only power is you not knowing who you are. So you can look at them with twinkles in your eyes and get teary-eyed when you hear the national anthem play at the baseball game. Okay? These heathens are not to be worshiped. They're the devil, right? So at least, I mean, we're going to hold fast to that truth. I'm not going to fall for it, and neither should you. Next, we're going to have a look at Mark chapter 11. This is the parable. It's not really a parable, but the Yahushua HaMashiach, the Messiah, did something very symbolic in regards to a fig tree, which this is like kind of like what got me curious about fig trees, because he did certain things and then while he was here in pertaining to fig trees, and I wanted to know what the symbolism is. So we're going to first read chapter 11, verse 13 through 15. Then we're going to skip down to 21 to 26.
And seeing a fig tree afar off having leaves, he came, if haply he might find anything thereon. And when he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for the time of figs was not yet.
So he's looking at this fig tree, and he was hoping to search out and find fruit. You know that some people look good from afar, but when you get close up to them, they have no fruit. There's no substance to them. He's not impressed with how you look. He's impressed, do you bear any fruit, right? Have you matured, or have you allowed yourself to mature to the point of bearing fruit? Didn't it say that these fig trees need about 25 liters of water a day? So if you're not digging deep enough to bear at least a certain amount of water is not flowing through your roots, you're probably not going to have enough water in your system to bear any figs, right? Which means it takes a lot of work, because these trees are going to be in dry conditions, right? And he's saying that you have no excuse. You have the ability to get there, right? Let's just go on to verse 14 before I continue.
Yeah, and Yahusha answered and said unto it, no man eat fruit of you hereafter forever. And his Talmudim heard it. And they come to Jerusalem, and Yahusha went into the temple and began to cast out them that sold and brought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold doves.
So this happened before he went into the temple and saw these fig trees with all the leaves, and they wasn't bearing fruit. They was basically using the temple as a storehouse, and it triggered him into righteous indignation, right? The Most High, this is symbolic of how the Most High would judge us when he give us all the tools that we need to survive and bear the fruit. And instead of doing that, instead of doing the really hard work, right, and digging deep and getting what you need to be who you need to be, you so focused on looking good, right? These folks are more focused on selling the tools that you need for the sacrifice instead of doing that spiritual sacrifice, right? And that's the reason why he when he saw the fig tree before he went to the temple, there was like a very symbolic gesture of what was actually manifested in the real temple. Isn't the temple supposed to be representative of the body of man being the temple of the Most High God? So if your temple is all about selling what is needed rather than being what is needed, and putting on the appearance of offering what's needed, but without really providing what's needed, isn't that just like the pure definition of hypocrisy? Let's read verse 16.
And would not suffer that any man should carry any vessel through the temple.
So he went ballistic up in there, right? Stop making people make you feel that being righteous meaning being calm in all situations. Sometimes righteous indignation is what's required to make people understand the error of their ways. Sometimes seeing the wickedness and the lack of faith can drive you into a rage, right? Because you know is that you got the tools to make it out here. Let's read verse 17.
And he taught, saying unto, what is that?
Oh, sorry.
Unto any man should carry any vessel through the temple.
Wait.
Oh,
Start all over. Verse 17.
And he taught, saying unto them, it is not written, my house shall be called of all nations the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves.
They were not bearing fruit, right? Verse 18.
And the scribes and chief priests heard it and sought how they might destroy him, for they feared him, because all the people were astonished at his doctrine. And when evening was come, he went out of the city. And in the morning, as they passed, they saw the fig tree dried up from the roots. And Kepha, calling to remembrance, saying unto him, Rabbi, behold, the fig tree which you cursed is withered away.
So he's saying that he encountered the tree before he went into the temple. He saw the tree that did not have any fruit, right? And he said to the tree, you will not ever bear any fruit. And he went symbolically into the temple and saw the fig trees running around, not bearing any fruit, so busy hustling, right? And when he came out of the temple after he went ballistic on them, that same tree that he spoke to before he went in the temple had dried up and withered away. And that's very symbolic of what is going to happen, that what happens to people when they don't lack the faith, when they lack the faith in the fruits that the Most High has equipped them to get, but they refuse to dig deep. When you choose to be a shallow person and you're a fig tree, the Most High said you're going to be cursed. Because you're not willing to dig deep enough to get to the water, right? You want to stay shallow. You want to be superficial. You want to be carnal. You want to be stuck on one level instead of digging deeper, right? And because of that, you're going to be cursed and wither away. And that's pretty much what the same curse that he spoke over those people when he went ballistic in that temple, that was manifested in the tree that he encountered before the fig tree that he encountered before he went in. So, okay, let's continue on for a few more verses. Verse 22.
And Yahusha answering said unto them, have faith in Elohim. For
he said unto them, after he has rebuked the hypocrites, the wicked priests, the wicked scribes, the wicked Pharisees, and all of the wicked leaders that was in charge, the rich ones. Remember that in the other chapters that we read, he said this is a wicked family, and the rich ones take advantage of the poor ones, right? And after having showed his disciples how fruitful these people are, and they saw how the tree withered when he walked out of the temple, he said to them, the first lesson you should learn from this: have faith in Elohim. Faith is your fruit, right? These people lack faith, so they're caught up in the physical going-ons and the operations and the mechanics and the management of the temple that they lose the sight of what is the point of all of this. They don't have faith in Elohim, right? They're trying to make a name for themselves. They're trying to be their own Elohim. Right? Verse 23.
For amen, I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be removed and be cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he says shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he says.
And so this is what he's saying, like, this is why you need faith. Faith is not going to cause you to be running to and fro to find answers in the things around you. Your faith is going to cause for you to have something deep within yourself to literally be able to move mountains in front of you. You're going to have to dig deep to get to that water to cast those mountains away from you. Mountains in the Bible symbolizes wicked and oppressive nations, right? Cast them back into the sea, because that's where a lot of these heathens come from the marine kingdom anyway, right? That's why he uses sea symbolism, right? And shall not doubt in his heart. Do not even doubt when you ask the Most High for something he could provide. And a lot of people are running out getting this shot because they're saying that praying don't always work. All these preachers have died. All these church people have died. I don't know what their faith was. A lot of people go to church for social reasons. A lot of preachers preach for financial benefit, right? You have to know and never even doubt a single second in your heart that he's able to provide, right? That is the fruit. That is the fruit that faith gives you power, is what he's trying to say. Faith is your power. Faith is your superpower. Faith is what can turn you into a superhero. Okay, so you should believe the things that should come to pass, whatsoever you say. And that's it. Because in the beginning, there was the word. Mm-hmm. That's how the whole world was created. The Most High said, let there be light. If he made us in our image, whatsoever we shall say shall have light and shall come to pass. That's what he's trying to say. I shall not die, but I shall live. I will not die from any kind of disease that sweeps through this planet. But wait, what do the people like to tell you? You ain't supposed to say that. Like that's some kind of superstitious. They created this false superstition that you're not supposed to say what's not going to happen to you. That's the definition of faith. I would never die from any kind of disease unleashed by these heathens or any plague that sweep this earth. I will survive and endure to the end of this thing. People like to say, you can't say what ain't gonna happen to you. Says who? That's not what Yahushua Mashiach said. He said, when you ask, you should know these things are not gonna, you should know these things are gonna happen for you. And you speak life over yourself. Right? Because that whole doubtful, I don't know. I shouldn't say I ain't gonna die from the Rona. You can't say that. You better go get that shot. Okay, keep listening to those doubtful spirits. People, fig trees with only leaves showing, but ain't no fruit on them. Okay? Verse 24.
Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them and ye shall have them.
With everything you shall, if I desire to live 1,000 years, I'm going to speak that over my life every day. I'm not going to say, ain't never been nobody live a whole 1,000. Even Adam didn't live 1,000. Even Methuselah didn't live 1,000 years. I say that I shall live 1,000 years. You know what I'm saying? Just say whatever you want, speak it out there and believe that my Most High God has the power to give it to you and never doubt it. This is what the world is trying to strip from you. This is the fruit it's trying to strip from you. This world is trying to tell you, trust in science, not y'all. The Most High has his place. This is not his place. The Most High has created me to be your God. The Most High created scientists to take care of you. No, the Most High Yah created the Most High Yah to take care of you. You know what I'm saying? You don't need nobody else, right? Yeah. And if you keep the commandments, you won't even need a single prescription for anything. The Most High can heal anything. I could testify to that. Verse 25.
And when ye stand praying, forgive, if ye have aught against any, that your Father also, which is in heaven, may forgive you your transgressions. But if ye do not forgive, neither will your Father, which is in heaven, forgive your transgressions.
So you have to have a heart, right? You have to have a heart that know that if I have flaws, then I must forgive those around me. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody tell you gotta wallow in wickedness with unclean people in order to manifest or show your forgiveness. But you also can't have no hatred in your heart for your brothers and sisters once you forgive them, because you want the Most High God to forgive you. That's a whole different story for unrepentant evil done to you by your enemies. You're not supposed to forgive people who don't want to be forgiven. Okay? So you just got to know how to manifest your fruit. So we're going to run over to Luke chapter 6, verse 43 to 45. All right, read verse 43 to 45.
For a good tree brings not forth corrupt fruit, neither does a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. For every tree is known by its own fruit. For of thorns men do not gather figs, nor of a thorn bush gather they grapes. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth that which is good, and an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart which brings forth that which is evil. For of the abundance of the heart its mouth speaks.
For the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. You cannot hide who you really are, and people will never hide what they really are if they talk long enough, right? It says, basically, he's trying to say a fruitless tree is cursed because it has no faith to search out the unseen waters in order to bear fruit in dry places. Seeing this lack of faith in people drove Yahusha to anger, because he knew that no matter how badly he wanted to give that living water to some people, that their roots were rotten and they would never bear any fruit because of their lack of faith in idolatrous hearts. And because due to the lack of faith and idolatrous hearts of some people, if you listen to them long enough, they're going to show the abundance of their heart that they're evil. Deep down inside, these are evil people, and they're not going to bear forth any fruit. Fruit is going to be, good fruit is faith, right? Mm-hmm. They're not, people, you can't have an evil man and have faith at the same time. You can't have a wicked heart and have faith and show faith, right? And that's the reason why these things cannot dwell in the midst of darkness, neither darkness dwell in the midst of light. Light casts out darkness like an unclean spirit. Neither can nothing be dark in a room full of light. And so because of these, this law of the soul and the spirit is the reason why some people are just trapped where they are, right? So basically, we're finding out that Yah turned his back on us due to our lack of faith. That's what it all boils down to, right? He turned on us because of our lack of faith. You can make a mistake. You don't have to be perfect for the Most High to love you, but he wants you to feel the shame of your wickedness and your backsliding and repent. But a wicked heart is completely turned away and not interested in turning back. They always seek to justify their wickedness, right? So let's just run over to Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 18.
Of the rock that begot you, you are unmindful and have forgotten El that formed you.
Of that rock that begot you. Didn't it say that fig trees grow on rocks and on rocky terrain? And it's amazing how they could burrow their roots through these rocks to find waters. So isn't it funny that it says that of that rock that begat you, you're unmindful? He made these tough terrain and conditions, and he made the water so deep to make you strong, right? He begat you like that. He made you like that. He built you to be strong. He built you to endure the harsh environment. I'm talking about the righteous that will be able to endure these conditions. But guess what? Because he said the wicked will not be able to survive this thing. The wicked would not know how to take their root and dig deeper. They would not. They're going to wither, right? Mm-hmm. He said that our people perished because they forgot. They were unmindful of the rock that formed us, right? Verse 19.
And when Yahuwah saw it, he abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and his daughters. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be, for they are very froward generation, children in whom is no faith.
And children in whom there is no faith. When you don't have faith, you become a very froward person. You become a very, callous person. You become wicked. It's faith that keeps people sweet and kind and loving and understanding. It's faith that gives you hope. How can you have faith? How can you have hope without faith? It's impossible. And because our people lost their faith, and those who choose to continue to not bear that fruit of faith and not have any faith, they're going to perish right now. It's okay to have a bad day or a bad hour or even a bad week. But guess what those bad weeks symbolize? It symbolizes that fig tree that is burrowing through that rock to find that water. And if the water dries up in this little pocket, you bust a left and go even deeper and find you another pocket of water. And if that water dries up in that little pocket, you dig deeper and find you some more water. And you dig as deep as you need to go and create as many offshoots and branches you need for your roots to keep your tree alive. All right? Mm-hmm. That's what life is all about. Ain't nobody said just because you have faith in the Most High, you ain't gonna have a bad day and cry like crazy and get upset and turn over tables like the Messiah did when he walked in that temple. He ain't say you ain't gonna move no furniture up in here sometime. He ain't say you ain't gonna get pissed off sometime. And sometimes he say you ain't even gonna get depressed, but you ain't gonna lose your faith. You better dig deep. You better turn that TV off and talk to him and let him talk to you. And build that faith up and get to that water, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about. So, who is that rock? Who is this rock that begat us? You know what I'm saying? Who is the Most High? Who did the Most High send is the foundation of this family tree, right? Beside himself, the original creator. Who did he send? Does anybody know?
Jesus.
Yahushua HaMashiach. You know what I'm saying? Jesus up in this piece. We got a lot of practice saying the real name. So we're going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Sweet baby Jesus. Nah, we don't. I mean, we love that name when we knew it, but now we know an even greater name, right? Okay. Can you read verse 1-5?
Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant, how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea, and were all baptized unto Moshe in the cloud and in the sea, and did all eat the same spiritual food, and did all drink the same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Mashiach. But with many of them Elohim was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness.
So he's saying that the rock that followed them was Mashiach. Right? Because in the wilderness, they drank all of their waters from the rock. Don't fig tree drink all their waters from the rock? Don't they grow on the rock? Yeah. So the Most High is saying that he sent the Messiah to us since the beginning of our nation to build our firm foundation, to build our fruit tree to burrow through the rock and to get to that water, right? Mm-hmm. That's the symbolism of bursting that rock to get the water out, the striking the rock to get the water out. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to speak to the rock. You're supposed speak. The Messiah, the Most High told Moses to speak to the rock, and the water will flow out. It's supposed to be a smooth process. It's gonna take a little faith to get to the water. You know what I'm saying? Didn't the article say that the roots of the fig tree is covered in this substance that break up that rock? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's what faith is supposed to be. Faith is supposed to be, you're supposed to dig down. You're supposed to dig down through faith and get to that water, right? He didn't say it was going to be like a drill, like a sledgehammer pounding through the rock and breaking up everything around him. They said you're gonna slowly move in there and slide through there and show the creative power of the Most High God to get to that water. But Moses got frustrated with his people and he struck the rock, right? Mm-hmm. He said, no, it don't take all that. You don't have to beat a dead horse to get this thing. You just got to be the way I made you. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna and if you dig deep enough, you'll get there. But he says that the way of many of them, Elohim was not pleased, and that's why they was overthrown in the wilderness throughout generations. But those who have faith in the end times will be able to endure. So we're gonna so now that we know that without faith, man cannot please Yah, and by faith, the elders of our fig tree had the deepest roots on earth to please Yah. That's what established us as a nation. The elders, because the word tree in Hebrew symbolizes elders. So let me show you that. I'm gonna run over to Genesis 1 and 11, only to show the I didn't need to put 11 on there. I just want to show you the meaning of tree in ancient Hebrew. Firm tree, ox. It's an iron and a tasad. An eye and a man, and the other letter tasad is symbolized a man laying on his side. The uprightness and firmness of a tree. The elders of the tribe were the upright and firm ones making the decisions and giving advice. That's the reason why tree and elder are synonymous with one another. Okay. So everywhere, when I learned that the meaning of a tree and firmness supposed to symbolize the elders as well, it made me very interested to learn the symbolism of different words of trees in the Bible, different types of trees. You got the olive tree, the fig trees used over and over again. Last week we went over the palm tree. The palm tree and the fig tree was just now revealed to me in the last couple of weeks. And I've been praying to the Most High since last year to show it to me. This is amazing. This is amazing that the Most High is literally bearing the fruit of things that I prayed for a long time ago. But I had to go through a lot. Those seeds had to be buried in a lot of dirt. You know what I'm saying? I even have to get a lot of life lessons to appreciate the message. So, tree, outside, counsel is also a word that this word turns into, meaning the firm support of the community. Okay? Wood, a tree or wood from a tree. So like I said, and then outside also means spine. The elders of the tribe were the upright and firm ones, like trees, making decisions and giving advice. Okay? So when the Most High says that be like your forefathers, because they were upright and firm like trees, like all types of trees, like palm trees, fig trees, olive trees. Olive trees bear the oil. The oil symbolizes light for the Torah. The palm trees is being submissive and submitting to the Most High God. The fig tree symbolizes having those deep roots, and we had the deepest roots on earth. We're very deep people. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Be like the elders. Because what made them so great? Because they had faith. Without faith, you cannot please Yah. The elders of our tree had the deepest roots because they pleased Yah with their faith. So with that being said, we're going to run over to Hebrews chapter 11. This is what people got to remember. This is what people got to understand at this time. You can't just get caught up in current events and what's going on, what happened, that it starts destroying your faith. But what is faith, right? What is it? Let's go over it.
Read?
Wait. Before we go over this, let's look at faith in ancient Hebrew before we go into that. I was gonna go over that last, but we're just gonna do it right quick. Faith. The root word for faith means sure, like being like sure of something. It has a mem, which symbolizes water, as well as blood, which is where the spirit and the soul is, and the seed. So you can almost look at like a spirit or soul seed, right? And it says the pictograph mem is a picture of water or liquid such as blood, and a nun is a picture of a seed representing continuance. Combined, these mean blood continues. Each species or kind continues by passing its blood to the following generation, which comes from the parent. Also, the idea of strength through the blood. It's like having strength through the blood. You got this blood running through your blood, through your veins from these upright men. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can take that from you. You got to tap into that. You got elders' blood running through the same substance of faith that those men had in their veins that established them as the firm family tree with the deepest roots of the last of the planet. There's a lot of bloodlines that have been killed off and died off over the years. Then they say the Tasmanian whole island, that whole family has been destroyed. How many bloodlines have these heathens destroyed? And look at, we still got the deepest roots on the planet. Mm-hmm. Look at Yah. That's the root word for faith. Now we're going to scroll on down and get to the actual word. Emunah or Amunah. Amunah. What is firm? Okay. What is one given support through food? You get faith through the word. The faith is fruit. Okay. Faith is your fruit. It's your support. Okay. Mm-hmm. Faith is there to support you and give you nourishment to give you what you need when you go through things. You got to keep your faith. It's somebody who's firm. The reason why people get so full of anxiety because the things of this world changes so much every day. Everything around you can change every day, but as long as you don't change, how are you going to not change when everything is changing around you? You got to have faith. Okay? You got to be nourished. You got to be nourished from the fruit of your own tree. Your faith would be destroyed if every time you dig deep, you let somebody come and pluck the fruit off and eat it. That's what it's called, energy harvesting. That's what demons do. They harvest your energy. They see you over there producing a little fruit, and where they come and snatch it away and pluck it off your tree and have you all distraught and stuff. Don't let them do that to you. Don't. And if somebody pluck off one piece of fruit, don't cry over it forever. As long as you know you got more fruit, and you stole that fruit, but you didn't steal all of it. Okay. And the Most High get them. Okay. So what's another word? The root word of faith also is connected to truth. You can't, if you don't know the truth, it's impossible to have faith. Okay, then it say faithful. That word is converted. That word also means truth. Truth is firm. What's another word? Amun. Okay, craftsman, one who is firm in their talents. Amwan. Firmness, faithful, trusting. Okay, it's about being firm. You have to be strong and nourished. You can't be out here looking for nourishment everywhere else. You have to bear your own fruit. Okay, by digging deep into that water. The water is the Holy Spirit, the living waters, right? Mm. So faith is H529, and it says firmness. It's all these words translated into faith. It's just that in this verse, it translated H529, but you got H530. Yeah, all this. So that's why I wanted to read all of them. You know what I mean? So also, look at this pillar, a support of a structure. When you have faith, you have a strong support and structure within yourself. People who don't have faith, they're like noodle backs. You ever seen like those noodle back people that cave and coon under pressure? Because they don't have faith. Their faith don't give them a backbone. You know what I'm saying? When your manager say, hey, if you don't take this shot, you got to be out the door. You got to say peace out then. If you have faith, you're able to say peace with a smile on your face, with confidence. Not even, you ain't gonna get teary-eyed about it, but okay, that's good, because that's good. We on chapter so-and-so in Revelations then, if this is what's going down. All right, don't fight the process. Go along with it. Don't let them steal your fruit. Even if they do snatch a fruit off your tree, you should have so much fruit that yeah, you might weep a little bit because they stole that little piece of fruit off of you and got you in your feelings and harvest your energy for that little moment. But look at all these other thousands of pieces of fruit on your tree with these deep roots. You ain't gonna stay there. You're gonna be what? What is the other one? To be sure. You're gonna be sure-footed. Okay? That's what faith is. You gotta be sure-footed. You gotta be strong. You gotta have a backbone. You gotta be nourished. You gotta have a pillar. You gotta be firm. You gotta have that blood running through your veins. And acknowledge that you're made out of the same things that these great ones are made out of. You're made out of the same thing. You made out of the same thing that made all these brothers stand up and stand strong. Okay? So now we're going to end in Hebrews chapter 11. I just want to go over faith a little bit because, sometimes when we say things in English, we kind of have a general idea of the definition of the word. But what do the Hebrews mean when they say Emunah, Amunah, and all the other amen? That's what I'm saying. It's what is true. That is true. That's what amen means. So be it. That's true. Okay. Amen means a statement of faith. Don't even say amen if you don't have faith. Okay. Amen. That's right. Okay. Let's start it. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1.
Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
Faith is the substance of things hoped for. That's the fruit. You hope for that to find that water, right? You dig those roots deep. This is our bloodline. We dig through. We dig through to make the deepest 400 feet deep is our roots to get to that water. And that faith that grows on that tree is the substance of all things hoped for, right? And it's the evidence of things not seen. Why? Because as you going and burrowing yourself through the rock, you don't see the water, but you feel it in your spirit. If you dig deep enough, that it is there, right? Like the article said, it's there. What a matter of divine intelligence does it take a tree to know that if I dig deep enough in this rock, that I'm going to find water there? No other tree does that. You know what I'm saying? No other tree digs that deep. That's why he says that he gives these parables about the fig tree. Verse 2.
For by it the elders obtained a good report.
Wait, the elders? Didn't we say the elders was the trees? Didn't the Bible say that the meaning of tree is elders? And he says, by faith, this is how the elders received a good report. He didn't care how tight your Hebrew robe looked and how fresh your turban was or how cute your tent was. He didn't love them for their ability to craft a very beautiful temple and their ability to make beautiful vessels. That can turn into idolatry very easily. But why did he say he loved them? Why? Because he loved them because they retained a good report through their faith. And then through their faith, he taught them how to do those things. They didn't even know how to do those things until they had faith. They would have been like all the rest of these heathens on the planet. They didn't have faith. They would have been shallow like everybody else. They wouldn't even exist. We wouldn't even exist. Verse 3.
Through faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of Elohim, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear.
What did it say that faith is? The Messiah said, speaking things into existence that aren't there, to the point that you can move a mountain.
Mhm.
You can part a sea. You can put curses on your enemies and dry them up like that fig tree when he came out the temple. You have the power to do all these things. That's why these heathens are always obsessed with brainwashing our people to love them no matter what they do to us, because they know as soon as they start talking crazy like this, and they want to call me a maniac for feeling this way, no matter how much they giggle and smile in my face, I say, you still a demonic heathen. I don't care how pearly white your teeth are and how good you look in your $1,000 suit. I don't care how nice your hair look when you put mousse on it and comb it back. I don't care how clean shaven your face is. I don't care how many commercials you throw at me. I don't care all about your mind game tactics. You are still the devil. They don't want you to stand firm on your analysis of them, because they know when you speak these things over them, they are cursed, just like that fig tree, and they'll wither up and die. Then you remember the TV show Them?
Mhm.
As soon as that woman decided that she was not going to let them heathens torment her mind and drive her crazy like he did all them other women that killed their families and throwing babies in the oven and all that other kind of stuff that was going on in that town. When she decided she looked at them, you say, you go back to hell where you belong. You don't have free reign over my mind. You're not going to drive me crazy and I'm harming my family. That TV show is symbolic how the Satan likes to get to the emotions of the deep root of this bloodline through the woman. It's the woman that will lose control of her emotions and destroy the family. You know what I'm saying? He loved to play with our minds because he know how much we love our family, and he loved twiddling around in our minds, driving us crazy. I've been victim of that. I constantly had to fight that off. And I'm trying to tell you, when you have faith, you can fight through that kind of stuff. You have to understand that the word of Elohim could cast devils out of your life for good. And even when a devil tried to tap across the front of your yard, you could cast them even farther away. They would not be able to become within reaching distance of you. Okay? So read verse 3 again.
Through faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of Elohim, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear.
Go ahead.
By faith, Havel offered unto Elohim a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous. Elohim testifying of his gifts, and by it he, being dead, he yet speaks.
This is Cain and Abel. Through faith, Abel had a more excellent sacrifice than Cain. He didn't really necessarily was no scholar of reading all these things to get faith. Faith comes from within yourself, that you dig your roots deep enough to tap into that water. Nobody can teach you how to do that. No book can teach you how to have faith. Okay? Verse 5.
By faith, Enoch
Mhm.
was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because Elohim had translated him. For before his translation, he had this testimony that he pleased Elohim.
Faith caused Most High literally to see Enoch to not even have to face death. He just translated. Just, you know what I'm saying? Just went up there. You know, he didn't have to go through the sufferings of death. Verse 6.
But without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that comes to Elohim must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him.
He's not the rewarder of them that diligently figure out how many people they can run up behind to get smarter. That's what people think the truth is, getting smarter. No, the truth is having faith. Faith and truth is made of the same word. Faith is having that deep relationship that digs deep and connects with the Most High and seeking him. Not having a casual relationship with him like you would have with a friend across town that you shoot a text to once a month. That's not it. That's not good enough. That's too shallow. You made those superficial connections to all these other lost souls out here. But don't do that with the Most High God, because I'm telling you, stuff is coming upon this earth that's going to test your faith. And if your roots are not deep, you're going to lose your mind. Verse 7.
By faith, Enoch.
No, verse 7. Sorry.
Okay, that's what I was.
I said verse 7.
That's what yeah, by faith.
Oh, no, that's not Enoch. That's
Well,
Noah.
all right, Noah, being warned of Elohim, of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness which is by belief.
So he's saying that faith will teach you how to prepare for what's coming. Okay? And you will become the heir of righteousness through your faith or belief. Okay, those words are interchangeable. Verse 8.
By faith, Abram, when he was called to go out into a place which he should, after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out not knowing whither he went. By faith, he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Yitzhak and Yaakov, and the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which has foundations, whose builder a maker is Elohim. Through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed, and she was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. Therefore sprang there even of one, and him as good as dead, so many as the stars of the sky in multitude.
And those same stars are going to be cast down upon these earth, these righteous good fruits up in heaven, the fruits of the fig trees, right?
Mm-hmm. And as the sand which is by the seashore, innumerable. These all died in faith, not having received the promise, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. For they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country. And truly, if they had been mindful of that country from whence they came out, they might have had the opportunity to have returned. But now they desired a better country, that is, a heavenly. Wherefore Elohim is not ashamed to be called their Elohim, for he has prepared for them a city.
Didn't we learn last week the word Shem means heaven?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we are a heavenly people, and we are not meant to be longing so much so for a place on this earth, right? We should know that our souls are tied to somewhere deeper and higher, all at the same time. We're a very special people, a people that cannot be broken. You give us a rock, we'll shoot a root out and burrow through it to find that water. You got to dig deep. Verse 17.
By faith, Abram, when he was tried, offered up Yitzhak, and he that had received the promises offered up his Yakid, of whom it was said that in Yitzhak shall your seed be called, accounting that Elohim was able to raise him up, even from the dead, from whence also he received him in a figure. By faith, Yitzhak blessed Yaakov and Esau concerning things to come. By faith, Yaakov, when he was dying, blessed both the sons of Joseph, and worship, leaned upon the top itself of its staff. By faith, Joseph, when he died, made mention of the departing of the children of Israel, and gave commandment concerning his bones. By faith, Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents, because they saw he was a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandment. By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, esteeming the reproach of Mishiach, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of Elohim than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a reason, for a season, esteeming the reproach of Mashiach greater riches than the treasures in Mitzrayim, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward.
You have to esteem the reproach you would get standing for righteousness in these days. A lot of people are caving under pressure because they don't want to be mocked and scorned and cast out of anywhere. You're going to have to be willing to esteem this to be a pleasure to be afflicted for the Most High. Why? Because you want to receive your heavenly reward. You want to be Shemitic. You want to be a heavenly people, right? You got to understand you can't be caught up on this earth like that. This is not your only inheritance. You got a greater inheritance that you're working for. The treasures of Egypt is what a lot of people are going to sell their souls for. We can't do this. You gotta stay strong. Verse 27.
By faith he forsook Mitzrayim, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured and seeing him who is invisible. Through faith he kept the Pesach,
the Passover,
and the sprinkling of blood, lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them. By faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, which the Mitzrayim, as saying to do, were drowned. By faith the walls of Jericho fell down after they were compassed about 7 days. By faith the harlot Rachav perished not with them that believed not, when she had received the spies with peace. And what more shall I say? Well, for the time would fail me to tell of Gideon and of Barak and of Shimshon and of Yipshak, of David also, and Shemuel, and of the prophets, who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions.
Through faith, these wonderful, great men, these patriarchs of our bloodline, these righteous people of our bloodline, rather, they subdued kingdoms. You're not supposed to be submitting under these kingdoms. You're supposed to be subduing kingdoms. And you're supposed to have the faith to do so, to not wither in the face of those who threaten to take what they think they could take from you. You can't take what you think you could take from me. It's not what I am, okay? They can take your job, but they can't take your life, okay? And only then, that's when you could obtain the promises, okay? And stop the mouth of these lions trying to devour us. Verse 34.
Quench the violence of fire, escape the edge of the sword, out of weakness were made strong, wax valiant in fight, turn to flight the armies of the aliens.
The armies of the aliens. That's all these people are, right? Because the thing about it is that if you're not human, right, completely, due to being a hybrid, you are essentially an alien. You are disconnected. Remember the word alien we went over last week is to be disconnected from the head. These people are not, their roots don't bury deep like us. They're disconnected. Okay? And so because they're disconnected, they don't feel no remorse over what they're doing to us. So you cannot think you could charm these serpents. Don't try it. Verse 35.
Women received their dead raised to life again, and others were tortured, not accepting deliverance, that they might obtain a better resurrection. And others had trial of cruel mockings and scourgings, yea, moreover of bonds and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn asunder, were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, tormented.
You got to be willing to go through these things to prove your faith sometimes. Be ready for that. If only way you can worship the Most High God is if he gives you a comfortable life, you don't have faith. Verse 38.
Of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts and in mountains and in dens and caves of the earth.
Only people that could keep faith going through all of this is people who have a really deep roots. Our people are still going through it all around the world, but we are still the most people that has the most faith in the Most High to anybody on the planet. Who does that? Who does that? Verse 39.
And these all, having obtained a good rapport through faith, receive not the promise. Elohim having provided some better thing for us, that they without us should not be made perfect.
So he's saying that these things are going to come to a fullness of perfection as the last generation subdue these kingdoms throughout the earth through their faith. Okay. And that's just all there is to it. And we're going to conclude with First Timothy. Second Timothy. I'm sorry, my bad. Okay, we're gonna figure out at the end of this lesson how does having faith, how when you bear this fruit, what would it look like? Like, what would it look like when you navigate this wicked world? What kind of person should you be? How should you present yourself in this world? Having faith will make you a certain kind of person, right? You will grow into this person. Be patient as the Most High grows you, right? Because ultimately, if you keep seeking the Most High diligently, He will make you like this. Read verse 1.
You therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Mashiach Yahusha. And the things that you have heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit you to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also.
Wait. The same commit to you, faithful men. The people who are strong in the grace of Yahushua HaMashiach shall be faithful men, right? Who is able to teach others also. It takes a lot of faith to have the patience to teach others also, okay? Verse 3.
Therefore, endure hardness as good a soldier of Yahushua HaMashiach.
Endure hardness. This is what faith leads you to be like. It leads you to be able to endure the hardness and the harshness of your environment as a fig tree, so that you can do what? Bear the fruit to become a good soldier of Yahushua HaMashiach on the face of this earth, preaching the Torah and the understanding that He brought to us when He came on this earth on what a righteous soldier of the Most High Yah is supposed to be like, right? Verse 4.
No man that wars entangles himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who has chosen him to be a soldier.
When you are a soldier for the Most High God, you don't have time to entangle yourself with the affairs of this life like that. Why? Because your whole focus is pleasing the Most High God who has chosen you to be the soldier. That's your main focus. Yeah, it's okay to enjoy things here and there, but you gotta wake up with a mission in mind for the Most High God to manifest these prophecies. These prophecies was written for you to bear fruit, to make them to be fulfilled. They ain't just gonna just sit on a piece of paper and fulfill itself. It's through the seed that is being spoken over in these prophecies that these prophecies are gonna be fulfilled. Don't just sit there and read Revelations. Figure out what chapter you in today. Don't just sit here and read prophecies. Figure out what role you play in that, and how can you make these prophecies be fulfilled. And the Most High says, speak curses on your enemies who are subjecting the world to their demonic deeds. Speak curses over your enemies who are submitting the world to their demonic deeds. It don't say just ignore it, right? Verse 5.
And if a man also strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully.
Strive lawfully. Don't break the commandments out here trying to do your own thing. How you gonna know the law unless you, like you said in Isaiah 34, read, know what the laws and the rules and regulations are. Verse 6.
The husbandman that labors must be first partaker of the fruits.
See, you're the first partaker of the fruits of your tree. And after you have nourished yourself with the fruits of your tree, then, only then, when you have nourished yourself with the fruits of your tree, your fig tree, your olive tree, you know what I'm saying? Your palm tree, whatever kind of tree that you want to represent for your soul. After that, then you will have enough to give to other people. Verse 7.
Consider what I say, and Yahuwah will give you understanding in all things. Remember that Yahusha HaMashiach of the seed of David was raised from the dead according to my Besorah, wherein I suffer trouble as an evildoer, even unto bonds, but the word of Elohim is not bond. Therefore I endure all things for the elect's sake, that they may also obtain the salvation which is in Mashiach Yahusha's with eternal glory. It is a faithful saying, for if we be dead with him, we shall also live with him. If we suffer, we shall also reign with him. If we deny him, he also will deny us. If we believe not, yet he abides faithful, he cannot deny himself. Of these things put them in remembrance, charging them before Yahuwah that they strive not about words to no profit, but to the subverting of the hearers.
Do not strive about words with no profit. Don't get into all these vain babblings and debates about the current goings on in the world. Why? They said, no man that wars entangles himself with the affairs of this life, which includes, but not limited to, vain babbling conversations about the cares of this life, so you can please him that's chosen you to be a soldier, because your spirit could be vexed to the point that you can't do the Most High's work when you get in these vain babblings, because these people are energized with these unclean spirits of Satan, will eventually, no matter how nice the conversation will start, try to draw you into their wickedness. Stay away from all those kinds of conversations, right? Verse 15.
Study to show yourself approved unto Elohim, a workman that needs not to be ashamed, rightly divided the word of truth.
That is what it said in Isaiah 34, didn't it? Study the word. These words are your roots that has been buried deep in the earth, okay? 400 feet deep, 400 just for you, a covenant people, the covenant number of 400, right? Study and show yourself approved. Verse 16.
But shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase unto more wickedness.
Ain't that the truth? Verse 17.
And their word will eat as does a canker, of whom his Hymenaeus and Philetus, who concerning the truth have erred, saying that the resurrection is past already, and overthrow the faith of some.
So he said, don't get in these vain babbling conversation with unbelievers, because they could actually overthrow your faith. They attempt to try to overthrow your faith, rather, in these crazy conversations with all their negative and weird and far off opinions about what's going on. Stay away from them. Okay, I don't care how lonely you get or how much you feel like expressing yourself and getting things off your chest and thinking you're gonna put them in their place and teach them the truth. Just stay away from it, okay? Let the wicked stay wicked still. Verse 19.
Nevertheless, the foundation of Elohim stands sure. Having this seal, Yahuwah knows them that are his, and let everyone that names the name of Mashiach depart from iniquity.
He says, having this seal. Do you know the mark of the beast is a seal? It's a seal in your soul. You're going to manifest certain actions due to how you're sealed, right? That is going to lead you to comply to the beast system and go along with their program and all of their demonic dictatorships and communism to fit into this system. Because if you're sealed to the beast, that's where you're going to go. But if you stay sealed into the freedom of the Most High God, you're going to fight for your freedom. And you don't care how much you get reproached and what anybody say or feel about you. Okay, right? Verse 20.
But in a great house, there are not only vessels of gold and of silver, but also of wood and earth, and some to honor and some to dishonor. If a man therefore purge himself from these, he shall be a vessel unto honor, sanctified and meet for Adonai's use, and prepared unto every good work.
So he's saying that he's not saying that having faith means that you're perfect. He says in a great house, there's vessels not only of gold and silver, which are precious things. He said you're going to have some wood and earth in there, things that you need to cast out of you. Be patient with the process. And when you acknowledge something that needs to be casted out of you, cast it out. Because when you purge yourself from these things, then you will be a vessel unto honor. The vessels in the temple were always made out of precious metals of gold, right? You don't want to sit there and hold on unto the wood and the dirt in your heart and not purify yourself with these things. Because when gold is first dug from the earth, it's covered in dirt. Okay, and then it has to be boiled and get the impurities out, and then it is formed into whatever they want to form it into. He said, do that to yourself. Don't sit here and say, oh, I'm full of gold and silver, I have nothing to work for. Identify your wood and your earth. When he said earth, he means the dirt. Okay, because you got some honorable things about you and you got some dishonorable things about you. Acknowledge the dishonorable things and purge yourself from these, that you will be a vessel unto honor, sanctified, meet for the Most High's use, prepared for every good work. Right? How do you do this? Verse 22.
Flee also youthful lusts, but follow righteousness, faith, love, peace with them that call on El Yahuwah out of a pure heart.
It says you're only supposed to have faith, love, and peace with all of them that call on El Yahuwah of a pure heart, right? But everybody else can get that smoke. Like he threw the tables off in the temple. He threw the tables off for he has the smoke for those who deserve smoke, and he has you gotta have faith, love, and peace for those who are righteous, and you gotta have the smoke for those who deserve the smoke. But the way you can avoid extra smoke and wearing yourself out, you're supposed to do what verse 23 says. Verse 23.
But foolish and unlearned questions avoid, knowing that they do gender strife.
Foolish and unlearned questions avoid. These are the things that the Pharisees and Sadducees kept trying to test the Messiah with when he came upon the earth, right? They used to always approach him with all these old weird, crazy questions, see if they could trip him up in his words. Avoid those kind of people. You know they're wicked, just avoid them. Okay? Verse 24.
And the servant of Yahuwah must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient, and meekness instructing those that oppose themselves. If Elohim perchance will give them repentance to the acknowledgement of the truth, and that they may recover themselves out of the snare of the devil, who are taken captive by him at his will.
If you do end up in a conversation with an unbeliever, don't do so unless you know you have meekness of spirit and patient and apt to teach. Because if you're not ready and you try to have a conversation with somebody who are not believer, it will lead into strife. Okay? So stay away from that and ask the Most High God to cast that wood and earth out of your good house, out of your vessel, out of your temple, so that perhaps one day, once you are purified and your house is only full of gold and silver, when you have these conversations, instead of it leading to strife, you can actually provoke people to repent and recover themselves out the snare of the devil, right? Because these people are taken captive by the devil, and what they seek to do is to take you captive with them. Okay? So don't do it unless you're strong enough. Okay? And sometimes you might have to test yourself, and you'll see, oh, I'm not ready yet. I'm not patient enough. You know what I'm saying? I ended up snapping and getting in my feelings. Then you know you got a little more work to do. But hopefully your fruit will bear the fruit of repentance for somebody. You hand them your fruit, and hopefully that'll cause them to repent. And that's how you become a good soldier, is by faith and casting good fruit off your fig tree, digging deep to get that water, which is that light of the Torah, which they understand that relationship with the Most High. Make it deep. Don't be superficial. Don't be shallow. Okay? Because the Most High is trying to prepare the world to cast his figs upon the earth. Right? He's casting that fruit from heaven to destroy these heathens. And he's coming to dry up the unfruitful fig trees as well. Okay? So don't think just because you're a fig tree, you got it made. No. If you don't see you're bearing enough fruit, you better dig deeper. The time is running out. And time is running out. And the Most High, please use me and all the righteous ones out here that are striving for righteousness as figs to cast our fruit upon all these nations in judgment for what they have done to us, that we had to suffer. Okay? And may the Most High bless you and keep you. I pray that you have shalom in your life. And I pray that the Most High willing that I would be able to continue to upload lessons as Most High will. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.